What's up everyone, my name is Gazabi, welcome back to the vlog. I am so happy, we're here, we're home, we're back, we're in Los Angeles. I'm really happy. But hang on a second. There we go, that's better. Right, we're here, we're at the Commerce Casino. I've been waiting weeks to do that intro, just indulge me. Yeah, first day of the trip, I'm super happy to be here. 3 weeks, gonna make a bunch of vlogs, gonna make some great content. Let's not mess around anymore, let's jump into the Commerce and play some cards. I'm so happy to be back. Day one, let's go. Alright guys, in we go. Super happy to be starting my trip at the Commerce Casino. I've played lots here in the past, and we're getting into a very good looking 10-20 game. It looks pretty decent, and I'm really excited to jump in and play. 15 minutes into the session, we pick up our first playable hand of the trip. I've got Jack 7 of spades on the button. I raise it on up to $50. The big blind makes the call, and we go heads up to our first flop of the trip. It is Queen 9-5 with 2 diamonds and 1 spade. I've got backdoor galore working for me here, so when my opponent checks to me, I decide to see bet for $60, and after a few seconds he makes the call. The turn is the 6 of spades. I've got straight and flush draws coming out of my ears now, so I of course decide to bet again, this time for $180, and after a few seconds my opponent makes the call. Looking for a bit of help on the river. That Jack of clubs might just be enough, you know, to win this pot. My opponent checks to me, I just check it on back, and sure enough I have sucked out, but not in the way that I had intended. My opponent's got King 9 offsuit, and my second pair is good enough to beat his third pair, dragging in this nice pot to send me up $330 after just 15 minutes. So happy to be back. Next up, I've got pocket kings in the big blind. The button is a local pro. I've played with him lots in the past. He's going to raise to $50. He's got me well covered here. I make it $240 to go in the big blinds, but unfortunately he's just gonna let it go. Gotta tell you, I got really excited there playing 10-20, putting in the re-raise with pocket kings, but just winning it pre-flop. 10 minutes later, I've got King 10 of diamonds in the small blind. Middle position is a young USA kid who raises it on up to $50. I'm gonna call out the small blind instead of 3-betting myself for predatory reasons. That's all I'm gonna say. The big blind is then going to put in a very small squeeze. He makes it $150 to go. Middle position calls, and I, of course, call as well. Really good price here. We go 3 ways to the flop. It is King 10-6 with a flush draw. Really good start here with top 2 pair. The big blind is going to bet for $200. Middle position gets out the way, and I am not messing around here. I make it $600 to go. My opponent clearly doesn't love it. He fidgets around for a full minute and then makes the call. The turn is the deuce of diamonds. My opponent's got like 1300-ish behind at this point, so I decide to bet $800. I don't want to go all in and kind of scare him away if he's got pocket queens. Instead, I choose this like custom size to just try and keep him in the pot as best as possible. He rage moves all in for $500 more. I, of course, call it off with top 2 pair. It's very clear I'm good, so I just turn over my cards, and he doesn't look happy to see that I've got top 2 pair. River is a jack, which is a little bit sweaty, but he just mugs his cards, and this really nice pot is coming my way, flopping top 2 pair there and holding on this run out to send me up $2,590. That hand happened because I got really good odds pre-flop, and speaking of getting good odds, here's a value sports bet I found the other day on an ATP tennis match using the data on the right hand side of my screen. This bet had an expected value of plus 9.2%, which means I should expect to profit around 9% of my stake if I ran the same bet repeatedly. The strategy I used to find this bet is called the dropping odds strategy. It involves using information from a bookmaker that adjusts its odds quickly to new developments like a key player getting injured to place a bet on another bookmaker that is slower to adjust their odds and therefore is offering odds that are too generous and too profitable. Bookmakers like Bet365, William Hill and Unibet are slow and exploitable, but in this instance I'm betting on a website called Gentleman Gym. The most important thing is to make sure I'm beating the MVP on the left hand side, which in this case was 2.563. You'll see that I managed to get odds of 2.8, so it's a profitable value bet. I've included a link in the description with more information on the strategy, so be sure to check that out after the video if you're interested. Alright, back to the game now. We've got Ace King offsuit in the small blind. A new player to the game has limped in while buying in for lots and lots of cash. That's something you don't see in the UK. Very strict regulations over there, which kind of stifles the game sometimes, but over here in the USA, the land of the free, you can buy in for cash if you want to. Anyway, middle position is limped in. The button makes it $100 to go. He's an unknown USA player, and I put in the re-raise from the small blind. I make it $400 to go. I'm, of course, re-raising this hand always. The limper gets out of the way, and after a little tank, the button makes the call. He's got me way covered. He's an unknown USA pro. Seems to be playing pretty standard so far. We go heads up to the flop. It's not what we wanted. It's 10-9-8 rainbow. Bit of a swing and a miss here. I think we have to check our ace king. And after a few seconds, my opponent takes a stab for $500. On the internet, they bet quarter pot, but these live deep stack cash guys have got other ideas, putting maximum pressure on my weak hand here. He bets $500, and I, of course, have to fold. This plus another couple of pots not going my way, sending me down only up $1,930 for the day now. But let's see if we can kick on. Next up, I've got pocket sevens in the small blinds. We're doing a round of straddles here, so we're playing 10, 20, 40. The hijack limps in for $40. The button is the same guy from the last hand. He makes $180 to go. I make the call out the small blind. I want to play with the limper. And sure enough, when it folds back round to the limper, he's going to put in the limp raise. He makes it $540 to go. The button snap folds, and we're like 5k effective to start the hand here. So it's only $360 more to me. And if I flop a 7, we could win a very big pot. So I think we have to call here. There's been a bit of a trend lately, me just getting into awkward spots with middling pocket pairs on the vlog and not seemingly able to flop any sets. Let's change that right now. I go ahead and make the call. Flop comes down 10-8-3 with a flush draw. A bit of a swing and a miss. I check to my opponent, and yep, standard stuff. He moves all in for 4.5k. God in heaven, why couldn't that 8 have been a 7? And we just crack his aces for this massive 10k pot. I, of course, fold my hand, and we move on to the next one. Picking up pocket aces in the big blind, the button raises to $100. The straddle is still on. And again, I put in the re-raise from the big blind. I make it $400 to go. My opponent's got me way covered. He's the same guy that folded to my 3-bet when I had kings. And now he folds when I've got aces. This is so anticlimactic. I was so ready to win a big pot there with the straddle being on, but it's not to be. Lots of pocket pairs coming my way. Let's keep that going with pocket sixes on the button. Low jack is limped in for $40. The cutoff raises to $160. I make the call on the button. Again, want to play with these limpers. And then the straddle is going to put in the re-raise here. He makes it $600 to go. The cutoff is going to make the call, and again, both players have me covered here, so it feels like we're getting the right implied odds if we can flop a 6 somehow. So I do make the call. We go 3 ways to the flop. King, 5, deuce, rainbow. Why can I not flop a set when there's so much money in the middle? Big sigh. I just go ahead and fold versus the c-bet. I was up 2.6k, now only up $1,200, but trying to play as well as I can. I'm sure the good times are coming again. Next up, I've got 7, 6 of diamonds in the hijack. The low jack is raised to $100. Straddle is just permanently on now. We're playing 10, 20, 40. I'm going to put in the re-raise from the hijack here. Not always re-raising, but certainly not never. I make it $320 to go. Now, the button is going to cold call. He's an unknown USA player. Been playing fairly ABC so far, we'll say. And the original raiser gets out the way. We go heads up to the flop. It is King 9-8 with 2 hearts. I do have an open-ended straight draw, and this board should be a little better for me than the cold caller. So I decide to c-bet for $280. And after a few seconds, he makes the call. The turn is the 3 of clubs, double flush draw on board now. And I decide to bet again, put maximum pressure on hands like 10s, jacks, queens, ace, queen, all these types of hands. I bet out for $850, praying that he just lets it go. But sure enough, he does make the call. Gonna need some help here from the dealer, but it's a board pairing 9. It doesn't complete any flushes though, and I've got 7 high, and I unblock all the types of hands that I could make fold here with a river jam. Hands like ace, queen of hearts, queen 10 of clubs. There are so many ace high and queen high and jack high combos that I can just make fold. And if you think that I flew all this way to check down 7 high on the river, you can think again. I move all in for $2,250. I honestly think this is a really good bluff. It kind of doesn't matter if he calls or not, because I'm really happy with the quality of my bluff. My opponent's wait, hang on, he's called. Yep, he's called my 3-bet with ace king. Yep, this is a huge pot going his way. Yep, stupid unblockers making me get stacked here. Sigh. My opponent wins this really big pot. Fair play to him. He's trapped me pre-flop, and he's got me to stick all my money in with 7 high. Really nice hand for him. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm down $2,800. I'm going to rebuy here, but I don't know exactly how much for. I took a couple of hundreds off and put a couple of 1Ks on. It's approximately 4K, but it's not bang on, which is why we're going to see some discrepancies between the stack size and the profit tracker now. But anyway, moving on, I've got ace king offsuit in the hijack, hoping for some redemption here as the low jack raises to $100. I'm going to make it $300 to go. The big blind is going to cold call, and the low jack calls as well. We go 3 ways to the flop. It is king, jack, 9 rainbow. Happy to make top pair, top kicker, but this board really connects well with the cold callers range, and I guess the low jack can connect with it as well. So I decide to make a bit of a nitty check back here. I'd much rather bet a hand like king queen, to be honest, with the gut shot and the queen 10 blocker, but ace king, I decide to just check it on back. The turn is a queen, really annoying. Any 10 makes a straight now. It checks to me again. and I of course just check it on back again. The river is a lovely 10 to give me the ace high straight. There's a king high straight on board, and again it checks to me. I try and get really cute here. I bet $100 into a pot of $950, just trying to get a couple of crying calls and win a little bit extra money. Unfortunately, the cold caller is going to snap fold, and the low jack is going to snap call. He's got ace queen offsuit, and we're going to chop this one up. Bit of an annoying one. I thought I'd sucked $100 out of the guy, but alas, we're just chopping it on up. Can't win a hand now. So many little pots not going my way. Just like this hand, I've got 7-6 suited in the cutoff. I raise to $100. The small blind calls. He's the guy that had the ace king earlier. And we go heads up to the flop, which is queen 10 5 all diamonds. I throw out a small c bet of $80. He snap makes it 240, and I have to just fold. What's more, like I say, the game is now permanently 10 20 40, so every time I raise, I'm raising to $100, and I'm not winning any hands, so my losses are all adding up now. I'm now down $3,090, but staying positive. Hopefully we can turn this around. Next up, I've got jack 9 of clubs in the low jack. I raise it on up to $100. The high jack is a reg. He's going to make the call. The straddle is a non-pro. He's going to make the call as well. We go 3 ways to the flop. It is 10-6-3 with 1 club. I've got a 3-card straight and a 3-card flush, and lots of ace and king highs that I can make fold here. So I decide to see bet for $160 with all my backdoors. But unfortunately, both players are going to make the call. I'm ready to barrel on the turn if I pick up equity, but it's the 3 of diamonds. I definitely don't think we can bet now. We block hands like king jack of clubs that we can just make fold. So we check it on over to the hijack. He bets $500, and I of course have to just fold. It kind of feels like every time I VP it right now, I'm losing a couple of $100, and these are adding up in a big game like this. But let's say if these pocket 10s can turn our luck around. Middle position is raised to $100. The low jack calls, and I make it $520 to go in the small blind. They're both going to just fold. This is a bit of a nothing hand, but this is the first pot that I have won, not chopped, but won in 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's quite crazy, to be honest. Like I say, lots and lots of small pots going against me. Very next hand, I've got pocket aces in the small blinds. The hijack is going to limp in for $40, and a reg in the cutoff is going to make it $200 to go. The reg in the cutoff is the guy that folded earlier when I had kings and I re-raised, when I had aces and I re-raised. As I make this $760 to go, I am praying it's 3rd time lucky and this guy will finally give me some action. The limper gets out of the way and the cutoff starts to tank. I'm so excited here. We're playing a big game. We've got aces. My opponent's in the tank. But then, just like all the other times, he just lets it go. Big sigh. What's more, the game is starting to wind down now. One of the fun players has been stacked. One of the fun players has left. And it's me and a bunch of regs. And I'm pretty tired. I've been traveling all day. It's kind of late. So I decide to tap the table, heading over to the cashier with my chips in the rack, booking a loss for my first session of the trip. I lost about $3,600 or so. But in a 10, 20, 40 game, that's less than 100 big blinds. So I'm not too fussed about it. But yeah, lots of fun and really happy to be back in Los Angeles. Alright guys, we are all done. Day 1 is in the books. Now before we go any further, I've got some fun facts and figures that we're going to do at the end of every day. First things first, profit for the session, minus 3,649. Profit for the trip, minus 3,649. Hours played, 3 hours and 47 minutes. Number of pocket pairs dealt to me, 11. Most of them were aces, jacks, 10s and deuces. Sets flopped, 0. Amount tipped to the dealers, a very disappointing $7. I'm normally quite good at tipping the dealers, but I had a spell of like 2.5 hours today in a 4-hour session where I didn't win a hand. So I'll forgive myself for that one. Hopefully we can get the tips up and I don't get shamed in the comments. As for the game itself, I feel like I played really well tonight. I think that bluff is sexy. A lot of people are going to criticize it in the comments. That's fine. I personally think it's sexy. We unblock all the folds. I think it's really good. Other than that, a little dry, a little stale. Had a lot of big pairs. Couldn't win any money with them. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So happy to be back. Yeah, that's my shtick. That's day 1 in the books. Really hope you enjoyed the show. Click the sub button if you did. And I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.